This episode of Danger Talk is sponsored by DraftKings, America's top-rated daily fantasy app.
Welcome back to Danger Talk. I am Jeff Dye, and fresh off his super long flight from Miami, the man, the myth, the legend, the reason you're on this podcast, the reason you're listening, Big R3, Russell Wilson. What's up, my man? Russ, you guys are 4-0. 4-0,
Boys are
baby.
4-0, baby. Nothing better. 4-0. So we got, it was hot, bro. I'm talking about going to Miami and playing out there. You know, we've been up in Pacific Northwest, cool weather, relax, and everything else. And, so, we have to go all the way out to Miami. First of all, people are not wearing their mask out there. They're out there walking around. People at the games, no mask. I'm like looking at the stands during a timeout. And I'm like, I normally don't look at the stands, but I realized it's like, I saw these people standing next to each other with no mask. And I'm like, that's why this COVID thing's still going on. So anyways, but it was fun. Obviously getting a huge win. It was a great game back and forth, and our defense played great. Offensively we did really, really good and made some special plays when we needed to, and that was great. So, but yeah, man. So it's been a cool start so far for us.
Definitely, they got to mask up. This stat comes from us courtesy of Hawk Badger. You had your first ever win in the state of Florida. That's true?
Well, first NFL win. Yeah, I haven't gone to Florida that much. We went to Miami the first year. We lost that game, close game, and then we played Tampa. We lost that game. I'm trying to think. We also lost to Jacksonville when Jacksonville was really, really pretty good a few years ago. Close game. So that was a huge win. Big. That's
big. I had no idea.
Now we got I dressed up as Miami Vice, I had the blue and the white pants, good man brand pants. I was ready to roll. So I felt good going into the game. And sure enough, we came out with a huge win.
And speaking of the masks and all the COVID stuff, had some positive tests, Titans, Saints, Patriots. What's the Seahawks doing, to keep everyone safe, the organization? What has been your role in that, or have you had a big role in that?
Well, I think, first of all, what's going on in the NFL, we got to be really extra careful because people's lives are on the line. Obviously, we have some older coaches in the league, and we also have, guys who, have to be super careful because of their size and everything else. And, you got to be just really careful. And then, also guys have asthma. And I even have asthma myself. Exercise-induced asthma. So you have to be careful, what you're around, how you surround yourself. So I think it's just super important that we're extra careful. I know for us in the Seahawks, I know our head of health and wellness, Sam Ramsden, has done a great job of the setup and making sure our players are staying extra careful. We space out like crazy. I think that, the reality is that in football, obviously when we're practicing and playing against each other, we got to be close. But in those moments in between, that's where you create the most space, and that's where you create the most opportunity to be free of COVID. And I think it's a really, really serious thing that we all have to take on. What's interesting though, is we talked about, last week talked about, CP3, Chris Paul, about the NBA bubble and the differences between NFL and NBA. But it's hard for us to do a bubble because we have so many people, and we can't play consecutive games in consecutive days. We have to, they played however many games in, 60, 80, 90 days or whatever. Well, for us, we can only play one game a week. Otherwise, we'll be physically torn up. So
sure,
I think, in the QB room, we're staying super spaced away from each other, and that's just been being super responsible, wearing a mask, washing our hands every time.
That's why you've been airing it out so much. You've just been throwing it out to try to keep that distance.
Exactly.
Well, you guys got a big win. Another win. We've talked about so much about DK and Tyler, but how about David Moore? I mean, he's had some pretty big acrobatic catches this season. What gives you confidence to throw those jump balls to him?
Well, he's just such an amazing athlete, so focused. He's been dialed in all year, which has been a really special thing to see. And just obviously, guys like DK and Tyler, we always talk about those guys, but David Moore has been really special for us. So it's been a great year, and everybody's been making plays, and I think that's important. Honestly, we talk about this. We talk about how important it is to stay safe during COVID, because that's the advantage. So if we can have all of our star players making plays and doing their part, and staying away from this whole COVID thing, it's imperative. Because obviously you watch the Kansas City game, and Kansas City versus the Patriots, and you watch that game, and it's like, really Kansas City didn't play good. And the Patriots really should have won that game. They had several opportunities to get a few turnovers and do a couple things. And then, and then also obviously not having, their star and Cam Newton out there makes a major difference. And it definitely showed, and they could have won that game. They should have won that game, really, to be honest with you. So it's important that we stay healthy. And obviously I'm praying that Cam gets back to healthy and everything else. But our guys are making plays, and we got so many star players, like you mentioned, David Moore making that great catch in the back corner of the end zone, the little juke move he had. He's been doing some great things for us. Yeah,
it's easy to beat Cam Newton when he's at his house. So you, Bobby, KJ, you're part of the 4-0 2013 team. In what ways the 2013 team and this team similar, or are they at all? Are they different?
I think we're definitely different. I think, personalities are a little bit different. I think, we had guys that were just, super, super amped up all the time in the locker room and everything else. We're more like chill mode now. We have guys amped up, like Jamal brings the fun, and we have, I think, Freestyle Fridays or whatever, all that stuff. But I think that our team is different. It should be different. I think it should be different. I think that, meaning that, every year is going to be a different year, and every player, every group, every quarterback room, every linebacker room, is slightly different. I think the one thing that can't be different, though, is your work ethic.
Sure.
Your work ethic has got to remain the same. Your work ethic and your mentality. What you bring to the table. Do you look forward to the tough situations? Do you overcome them? And that's what we have very similar. And that's why we're both 4-0. That's why the 2013 was 4-0, and that's why this team's 4-0.
Well, I love it. It feels good to be a Seahawks fan right now, man. You guys are just cruising and crushing, and it's great. On this podcast, we don't tell our fans and audience and subscribers who the guest is going to be. So how exciting is it right now to bring in our guest here?
I'm super fired up because this guest means a lot to my family, the Wilson household. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we have this conversation. But we have one of the most decorated, special women, in my opinion, and ever, I said Jeff Dye, I said ever to play sports. Our guest today is a WNBA champion, a two-time WNBA MVP, and a WNBA Finals MVP. She's an upcoming television broadcaster, a mom, an inspirational role model to so many young women everywhere. And please welcome the one and only Candace Parker in the house of DangerTalk.
Applause.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Candace, what is up? So first of all, I got to read some of these stats here. First of all, you're the #1 overall pick in 2008 WNBA draft, the Los Angeles Sparks.
Ooh, that was a long time ago.
You're with the Lady Vols. I remember watching you with the Lady Vols and Coach Pat Summitt and all the things you were able to do there. Just 2007, 2008 NCAA championships, WNBA MVP and Rookie of the Year in the same year, right? Is that right? I mean, there's all these different things that you've done. I mean, you've won the gold medal, I believe, twice. I mean, it's pretty fascinating, all the accomplishments you have. I haven't even got an MVP vote yet, Candace. So, I mean, you're
coming.
over there doing
Don't
your
worry.
thing.
It's coming.
You're over there doing your thing.
My favorite credit is she dunks, not like these other lazy WNBA players. Candace dunks.
I know.
I used to back closer to 2008. Now it's kind of like
matter.
I'm doing the hard layup.
It's
cool.
alive on YouTube.
I can barely touch the rim, so we're on. Hey, listen, Candace, I can pass the rock though. I'm gonna dish it. I'm gonna get to the rock. I'm gonna pass.
Hey, there's long careers that pass the rock, so I'm just saying. It happens.
So Candace, let's talk about just your life now. What's your life like right now with the WNBA bubble, all that being over and everything else? What are you up to right now?
Well, after spending, I believe, 78 days in the bubble.
78 days. Wow.
Yes, in Bradenton. And by the way, Russ, like I know you train, in Florida sometimes, and so you're kind of used to. I'm not used to the bugs that have like kneecaps and like the armadillos walking past on the street. Like I was not used to that. So that took an adjustment, the heat, the humidity. But other than that, the WNBA did an amazing job of putting on the bubble. I'll be the first one to tell you I was kind of in doubt that it was going to actually go down, but they did a really good job. And obviously we wanted the season to end better than it did. I think everybody hates losing at the end of the year, but it was a great experience to be a part of, and it was really historic.
What was the biggest challenge of the bubble, besides probably being away from your family, but other than that, what was the biggest challenges? Because I'm thinking about, with all the COVID tests becoming positive in the NFL, what if they put us in a bubble, and what would that look like? And the difference is we got, 53 plus guys on our roster. And so, it's fascinating. Just, we talked to Chris Paul last week. We talked to Shaq, the week before, week one. And so it's kind of interesting, just the process of this bubble. So can you take me there? Like, take me into a normal day for you guys.
The WNBA was kind of the perfect size for the bubble, just because there's only 12 teams. There's 12 players per team. And honestly, my, ultimatum, I guess, was I had to take my daughter. And so my daughter went with me to the bubble.
Was she mad about that?
She honestly, like, this kid she's been rolling. At 5 months old, we got on a plane and went to Russia, Ekaterinburg, Russia. Like, she's lived in Turkey. She's lived in Istanbul, Turkey. She's lived in China. Like, the kid rolls. So she was like, all right, am I able to bring, this, and this? Can I do TikTok occasionally? She's fine. So we actually had a great experience, honestly. I mean, you could get Uber Eats, you could, I had an apartment because all moms got the apartments. And so I was able to cook, and Layla had her room, and it was, it was a unique experience. And honestly, normally when you come into, LA, into this market, all of the team lives in the same apartment housing because it's an off season, we only play in the summer. So this was my first experience, like, living near my teammates. And so we were able to kind of connect and hang out more and, have game night. So it was a good experience.
Yeah, you and your daughter, you guys just doing TikToks. Like Sierra over here, she's doing no TikToks. By the way, Sierra told me to tell you hello. She loves you.
Please tell her I said hi. She kills the TikToks. Like, that's why I'm like, yo, you need to come teach Layla, because she always wants me to get into TikToks. And I'm like,
half the TikToks I see are people doing Sierra's songs also.
Yes,
so
this is very true.
If it's not Sierra, it's her. You're hearing it.
Sierra just put this dance tutorial out on her new song, Rooted. So you guys will have to, I know she'll appreciate you if you start dancing to it. But what's crazy
I've been
about
working
it
on
is,
it too.
Yeah, you don't want to see Jeff Dye do it. And honestly, Sierra's trying to get me to do these TikTok dances. I'm like, babe, I ain't dancing. We did one little Drake video. Now she's trying to get me to do every single dance video. I'm like, that is not me.
I'm like, Layla, my daughter, you can be in front. I'll be the back hype man. Like, I'll make an appearance and walk through and do like one of the little dance moves, and then that's it. So I'm with you, Russ.
I got a question for you, Candace. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Can I ask one, Russ? I came prepared. Candace Parker, first question. What is your problem? No, wait. Sorry, that's for Candace Owens. That's the wrong.
Yes,
that was the wrong
one.
Guess.
Absolutely wrong one.
The question I wanted to ask you was, we always like to start off and ask the guest who's their favorite football team they grew up watching. We're hoping it's the Seahawks, and we're 0 for 4 on that for our podcast. So who's your favorite NFL football team? And be honest.
Okay, I am a Chicagoan.
Oh,
okay. 2 Chicagoans. How was it, Kanye? Bears. And I blow like Chicago win. But anyway, the Chicago Bears. Like, I am a ultimate Chicago Bears, Cubs. I mean, you talk about the Blackhawks. I'm Bulls. Obviously, I grew up during that era. So I'm trying to get my daughter to like be okay with Chicago sports, because she's grown up in LA, and it's really painful for me to say that she's cheering for the Dodgers and the Rams and things like that. But
the Rams?
I like the Seahawks. I'm not gonna lie. You said the Rams.
Really?
They had Ram Day. They had Ram Day at school. I was like, you cannot wear. No, we're not wearing that. So
I wonder what Ram Day in LA. I wonder what Ram Day in LA is like. Listen, one of the things I think about is, growing up, you talk about the Bears. So you've always loved the Bears?
I've always been a Bears fan, and it's been crazy. Yes, it's a roller coaster.
So what is your thought right now? Take me, your OC, your head coach of the Bears right now. Who do you got playing quarterback right now? Because it's been an interesting, quarterback battle in Chicago.
It has been interesting. Obviously, I was watching, 2 weeks ago when Foles came in, and I like our comeback the first 3 games. Like, I was excited that we were 3-0, and I actually tweeted. I said, this is the first weekend where both of my Tennessee Volunteers football team, as well as the Chicago Bears, has been undefeated since probably the Bears were in the Super Bowl and we were in the SEC championship game. Like, honestly, it has been a roller coaster. Listen, I was talking to D-Wade. D-Wade's a huge, Bears fan as well. And when Cam Newton was out, I was like, how are we not picking him up? I don't understand. But we got Foles, and he did well, last game. So
that tone shift was perfect.
I'm rolling. I'm a
Well,
Bears
the
fan.
guy that you guys do have, who's one of my favorite people in the world, he's one of my best friends. He's actually a groomsman in my wedding. Is actually Jimmy Graham.
Yes,
Jimmy Graham's been making plays for you guys.
Yes,
he's been snagging it.
He has. I love watching him play.
Yeah, he's amazing. So, Candace, take me back to your childhood a little bit. Taking me back just to your household. What it was like growing up? Were you always a big basketball person? Talk to me about just your family structure, how that all worked out.
So I am the youngest, and I have 2 older brothers. My oldest actually played in the NBA for 10 years, played with LeBron in Cleveland, played in Toronto with Chris Bosh. Corner shooter. He kind of laid the foundation of, who I wanted to be. My second brother is a doctor. He practices in Tampa. Him and his wife live down there. And so my whole family's there now. But growing up, they were my heroes. So I tried to do everything they did. They went shirts and skins. I went shirts and skins. Like, that's how it was. I was out there playing basketball, playing tennis with no shirt on. My mom nearly had a heart attack. Obviously this is me when I'm really young, but I wanted to do and be everything they did. So growing up, just having 2 great role models to look after and to follow in their footsteps, both in sports, but also just as people. Was
Did you think about being a doctor and a basketball player?
I never thought about being a doctor. And here's the crazy thing. My oldest brother and I, Anthony, we always talk about this. Anthony and I always get all the credit and the praise and oh my gosh, you're an athlete and all this stuff. My brother's a doctor. He went to Johns Hopkins, he went undergrad at Washington University in St. Louis. He's brilliant. And so we always say and give him as much credit as possible, because there's no possible way I probably could have been a doctor.
Everybody loves dunks. Yeah. That's the thing. Everybody loves dunks.
Could have played one on television maybe, but other than that, nah.
You think about doctors, lawyers. I mean, the amount of work that you have to do in education in school. And so I have a lot of respect. I come from a family of lawyers and athletes. But, I'm thinking about my dad, who's no longer here. But, all the reading he had to do every day. I mean, I fall asleep half the time I try to read. So I don't know how they do all that work. But
so much respect.
So talk to me also too about just you growing up. I think you grew up in Missouri and also Illinois. Is that right?
Yes, correct. I was born in St. Louis, and I moved to Naperville, Illinois. And I stayed there throughout my childhood. Grew up in the Bulls era, so it was championship or bust. I remember being at all of, all the parades, seeing the commercials on television of Dennis Rodman, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, telling everybody not to mess up the city when they won the championships. Those are the memories from my childhood.
Did you, obviously, I'm assuming Michael Jordan was obviously one of your favorite athletes of all time, but who else did you love, on the Bulls? Who was did you have a Michael Jordan jersey?
I had a Michael Jordan jersey, but listen to this. I was a Ron Harper fan. I was a diehard Ron Harper fan. And I didn't like how they portrayed him in The Last Dance. I'm not going to lie, because Ron Harper meant a lot to the Bulls and the success of the Bulls and the leadership.
They didn't give him much love. They didn't give him much love.
As a Ron Harper fan, I was hurt. I'm not going to lie. But I had a Ron Harper jersey. I had a Michael Jordan jersey. I was a BJ Armstrong fan as well, because my parents both went to Iowa. So there was that connection for sure. But yeah, I definitely tried to master Michael Jordan's fadeaway over his right shoulder.
Yeah, I know. It was so cool watching The Last Dance and just thinking about, as I grew up, I used to always try to do that move he did on Russell, and I wasn't as good as a hooper. I was the guy coming from football practice over to try to play
open
basketball, all that stuff.
The open gym.
Yeah. What you know about the open gym, Jeff Dye?
I'd go because there was girls there, and I'd just kind of goof around and watch. And I wasn't going to impress them with my athleticism, so just goofed around, had fun.
Hustle and heart.
You guys? Yeah, exactly. That's what he was. Did you when you played in high school? Did you have a lot of guys in the varsity basketball team try to always play you because you're such a great basketball player and stuff, or how'd that work? Because I was one of those guys. I wasn't the best basketball player, but I was the dude just trying to make all the passes. I was, if I was open, I'd hit it, but I wasn't. I was, it was one of those things that it wasn't my number one sport. But
what
about you, Candace?
It's interesting because growing up, I always was playing with guys. And so I always talk about in 5th and 6th grade going to the park and getting picked last the first time. And then the next time going back and I'm the one picking the team because, you know, our team ran the court. So that was kind of how it was. And then when I graduated into high school, there was an open gym at this health center and everybody there kind of knew my family. And so they kind of took me under their wing and, you know, they really tried to help me. I think that's the biggest thing is when you have guys that come and are actually trying to help you get better and not try to prove something. And so I think I was able to play with people that were good at basketball and were confident in who they were. And, you know, they were able to kind of.
It's not a lot of girls that were 6'4" either. That's the thing. Guys are
very true. It's very true. And at Edward Health and Fitness Center is where I grew up playing. And that was where I first got my first dunk down with a tennis ball. That was where I first got my dunk down with a volleyball and a basketball as well. And so those guys still hit me up and cheer me on.
So that's what I need to try to do. I need to start dunking with the tennis ball, and then I'll go to volleyball. So talk to me about this dunk contest here. Talk about this dunk, contest that you won in high school. I think you won a contest in high school, right?
Yeah, it was the McDonald's All-American game, and it was the first year. It was actually the second year that women were included in the game. And so just casually, I was coming off of ACL surgery. I just tore my ACL the previous year. I'd only played half of my senior year in high school. And, you know, I had the brace on and they were like, do you want to dunk? And I was like, all right, like I'll get one down and then I'll go sit down and that'll be it. And the guys just kept missing dunks. And so it was just kind of like, well, she's got to win because they're not getting down. I think it was J.R. Smith missed a bunch of dunks.
Come on, J.R.
Josh Smith, he missed a bunch. So it was just kind of like, all right, I'm going to just keep getting my dunks down. And then at the end, it was a victory. And the funniest was my brother was playing overseas at the time in Israel. And so we call him because the dunk contest didn't air for 2 days. And so we call him and it's like around April 1st. And we're like, you know, Can won the dunk contest. And he was like, nah, April Fools. Like, you're not going to get me. Like, this is, you know, and we're like, no. And so he waited for 2 days until the newspaper came out and confirmed that I won the contest.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So talk to me. So when your transition from obviously winning the dunk contest, McDonald's All-American. By the way, my sister was a McDonald's. I mean, she plays at Stanford, and she is absolutely in love with you. Everything that you stand for, everything that you represent. My sister Anna, she adores you. So you got Sierra in the Wilson household. You got Anna Wilson who loves you, and then you got Sienna Wilson who's over here running with her shirt off like at 3 years old, thinking she's playing with the boys too. So
I love it.
So you got all the Wilson girls rooting for you. But I think one of the things is I think about your transition from McDonald's All-American, all the pressure you had to deal with, and the success and everything else. How did you? I'm always fascinated is how do people deal with pressure? How did you deal with the pressure of coming out to be the best basketball player out of high school to obviously the transition from, college and on, but how did you deal with pressure? Because I think there's a lot of athletes and people just in general who, one, put that pressure on themselves, but also there is this legacy that you want to create and want to build. And how did you deal with that pressure and how'd you overcome it all?
I won't lie to you. Like early on, I was just playing, and it was kind of just like when I remember my coach in 8th grade was like, I think you'll be one of the best 8th graders in the state. And I remember my mom got mad at me because I looked at him crazy and was like, the state? Like, I'm not aiming to be the best in the state, And so just that confidence that was instilled in me as a kid. I mean, my parents brought me up where there was no difference between me and my brothers and our expectations. Like, it wasn't like I had a different curfew or I had different responsibilities. Like, my brother cooked, I cleaned, we mowed the grass. Like, that's how it was. And so I got this confidence at a young age to believe in what I could do and would do. And then my confidence kind of wavered a little bit. I tore my ACL my senior year in high school. And then I had total knee reconstruction surgery my freshman year at Tennessee and had to sit out an entire year. And so when I came back, that adjustment was the hardest for me because I had all these expectations coming into college. We were going to win and all the things. And I started doubting myself. And, I will say that kind of even through winning championships in college in 2007, 2008, coming in the WNBA, it was tough just managing people's expectations. But the thing I've found has been like my expectations of myself are far greater than any pressure or expectations other people can put on me. So I just try to attack it that way. And then honestly, a huge mentor as well, just in terms of confidence, Kobe Bryant. I mean, you talk about somebody that had confidence. And I remember when I got to LA, he was like, you put in the work, then the next shot has to go in because you put in too much time for it not to. And so that was kind of my mentality, is just to put in the work, and, you know, the results will work out.
No, I love that. I think about, you know, what Kobe meant to basketball, but just to so many other athletes too around the world, you know, and the vision that he gave, and that Mamba mentality that he was able to establish and continue to do and put forth, you know, and that
also regular people, you know, like I think you athletes forget this, you know, you say like, oh, Candace Parker is inspiring young women and Russell Wilson is going out there. Dude, the regular people, they go to their job inspired and proud and happy, and the factory workers and boys love Candace Parker and little girls love Russell Wilson. And I think that's, I mean, Kobe, I love Kobe.
Yeah, no. So I mean, he created that opportunity for, you know, people to be able to dream at the highest level. And I think also too, at the same time, you know, that the reality is that you have to put the work in, and he demonstrated that in so many ways. And, you know, so you talk about legend like Kobe Bryant, obviously, and what he meant to you, and that relationship that I've always admired that you two have had, especially being in LA and being the faces of LA. But then you think also about, you know, Pat Summitt too. So talk to me about those two legends, that how they've impacted you in such an in-depth way.
You know, just first and foremost with Kobe, the thing that I struggled with, and Russ, you can say, as a parent, getting your kids to understand the mentality that you have to be successful in whatever they choose. Like Layla doesn't have to dribble a ball, but if she wants to attack her algebra homework, like I want her to attack it in a certain way, in a mentality. And like, you have to have some level of failure to, you know, to succeed. And so I think I love what Kobe laid the blueprint of the expectations of children and how you can break it down to them and they understand it, especially if you look at like what he did with the Mamba team, and they were running sets, like college sets, and breaking down defenses and things like that. And, you know, that definitely goes to kids, but it also, you know, translates to women as well. He was the first one where I was like, yeah, female athletes. He was like, you mean athletes? I was like, no, he's like, athletes. And so that was how he attacked it, is, you know, you're an athlete, you put in the time and the energy, and you get the respect. And so just from learning from him, and then again, Coach Summitt, she transcended women's sports. She was there in Tennessee in the 70s, driving the bus, doing the laundry. She taped ankles, and she was making like $50 a month, and she was a graduate student. So she was taking classes as well. So you talk about just like her going from that to playing in front of 24,000 people, signing a first $1 million contract by a women's coach. I'm so lucky to be surrounded by so many amazing people that have done crazy things. But with the two of them, the thing that I've noticed is it's the small things. They do the great things in the like, Russ, when I watch you play, it's the small ways you communicate with your teammates, honestly. And that's what separates good from great. It's paying attention to those little things. And that's what I've learned so much from Coach Summitt, and from Kobe, and from you, and from other amazing athletes that have accomplished so many things, is like, it is the little things as well.
Well, the small things add up. And I think that, you know, when you talk about the subtleties of communication, you know, if you're in the huddle and alerting guys, say this may happen, or just the little things that you do in the locker room. And you talk about Pat Summitt, you know, taping ankles, you know, just hearing that story, you know, back in the 70s, and what that really was like, especially for a woman to do that, and to be able to put everything together and still be the coach and still run the show, and, you know, to break, you know, to break barriers, to break boundaries in terms of being the first woman to be, you know, able to get paid $1 million as a coach and everything else. I mean, that's life-changing, game-changing, and has changed women's, you know, sports. And I love what Kobe had always focused on, is, you know, the ability to, you know, create more opportunity for girls and women and sports as a whole. And I love what he said to you about, you know, you mean athletes, you mean, because I think about my little sister, I think about who she is, and, you know, she beat me one-on-one. She ain't playing no games when we're going competing. And I think that mentality of what you're talking about, especially when you have kids, you know, where you want to teach them to be the best, and whatever they're doing, be the best version of yourself today, and don't leave tomorrow, you know, and hope about tomorrow. Just focus on right now, right? Focus on today, and don't worry about yesterday. And I think that's just such a competitive nature. And and everything else. And so when you think about your daughter too, as well, and the legacy that you want to leave for her, what is that when you talk, what do you want? If you could speak to her now and talk to her about, this is where I want you to go, and this is what I want it to look like, what would that look like?
It's interesting because we're at the age now, she's 11, and I'm able to kind of see some of the seeds that were planted early on. I struggled with being tall when I was younger. There weren't very many 6'4" women walking around, as well as size 12 feet. My hands are huge, and so I struggled with that. My brothers, their wives are 5'2" and 5'4", and so I'm looking at my heroes and I'm like, would you even consider dating somebody that is this tall? Like how, and so I kind of struggled
with
with
exact
that.
same size, Candace. So just think about it.
I don't know. You said you don't have a jump shot, so we gotta figure this out.
Oh, she called you out there, Jeff.
I'm retired from trying to get my jump shot good.
You're good. I mean, you got the intelligence and the wit. I love it. No, but it shows now when my 11-year-old walks into a classroom and she's the tallest one and she's holding her shoulders back and she is measuring herself on the wall and cannot wait to get taller, and she can't wait to get in the same size shoe as I am. And she has so many aunts around the WNBA and just all my friends that are tall. And it's just showing that, whatever we tell our kids and whatever we show them, they're capable of accomplishing and they're capable of doing and dreaming. And so honestly, it's been great to see that she's just confident. Like, you want to see your daughter confident, and, and that's what my only wish for her was, like, work hard and just be confident in who you are.
Well, I love what you posted recently on Instagram. You talked about, you winning obviously MVP and also, Rookie of the Year, and, how you found out you were pregnant the same year and everything else. And I think about, that, and, the confidence that you have to have as a woman too, to deal with that and still be a superstar at what you do and to balance all that. And it's always admirable. I always tell C this, it's, no matter what you do, like, be the best version of you. And if you want to have kids and everything else, like, the rest is going to happen, And so I think so many women in the past, have worried about having children and especially while they're a professional athlete or entertainer or whatever it may be. And I think what's been amazing is watching women like yourself, like Sierra and so many others, to be able to embrace that and to go about that. How did you feel? What was the excitement like? You getting pregnant and then also having all these amazing accomplishments that you were, actively doing in the middle of your season and everything else. What was that experience like as a woman?
I always wanted to be a mom. I can tell you that from the get-go. I played with dolls damn near until I was like 13. I was always babysitting. In college, I would trade a party any night to babysit one of our GA's kids, or I always had kids around. I was the aunt that never wanted to give my nieces and nephews back. I always dreamed of being a mom. So when I found out I was pregnant, little did I know I'd just come off of, Rookie of the Year, MVP that year. We just lost in a last second shot to go to the finals, and just won an Olympic gold medal. And little did I know, Layla was around and a part of that entire journey. She, I found out I was pregnant around 8 weeks, and, it was at the end of the season, and she was fighting for the rebound with me. But I will say it really changed my viewpoint on the way that sports view women and men as parents. Just the expectations, as well as the questions. Like, Russ, I was met with, like, how could you do this to us as fans? And it was like, hold up. What do you mean? How could I do this to us? And I still came back and played the next season, but it was just certain things, like how reporters, would ask me, hey, so where is Layla? Like, who's taking care? Whereas, men athletes usually don't get, maybe, occasionally get asked because you're an amazing father, but, like, where are your kids? Like, are they okay? Making sure. So it's just, there was a whole set of unique challenges, but honestly, having her at the beginning of my career, she remembers everything, and she's been a part of everything. And it's been great to grow up with her. And there's nothing like it, as you know. Also, congratulations on your new addition. He is precious.
Yes, he is. He's
absolutely adorable.
Wayne is amazing. It's amazing having kids. When I was listening to you talk about, having to deal with all these questions and everything, for us guys, we don't have to deal with that. It's like, yeah, how's everything going with the baby? We're good. Like, we're not having to do all the work. And I think what's amazing is that you're able to sustain the level of success, focus, everything else. Like I always tell women just in general, it's like, it's absolutely fascinating what women can do and to bear, and everything else that, you all have been able to do. It's fascinating. I listened to your story about that, and I think about what you've had to deal with, just in women's sports as a whole. And you guys face an uphill battle all the time, and constantly searching for recognition and equality and all that. And I think you've done such an amazing job of really, really honoring and representing, and also at the same time pushing for change and equality in sports. And so how have you dealt with that balance and everything?
I think it's definitely a balance. I think when I'm doing stuff or I get up and I just feel like there's no hope, and you have those days. Then I look at my daughter and I look at my nephew that rocks my jersey and tells all his freshman basketball team in Florida that I'm his favorite player. I look at my daughter and the expectations she has to be able to have the same opportunities my nephew has. And so honestly, I think I've been so lucky to have the WNBA to aspire to play in. I've had so many people. I mean, you talk about Cheryl Miller, talk about somebody that was before her time.
Yeah.
Reggie will say it. She was better than him. He says it all the time. But she didn't have the WNBA to play. Therefore, the opportunities that she would have had aren't there. And for a long time, it was overseas or get a regular job for women. And so I think we've come so far, but we have people like yourself. We have people like Kobe Bryant and his legacy. Powell continuing on that, having a daughter as well, was so special. And so I think we have people that are going to continue on those legacies and continue on that fight. But it's special to see where we're at, though, and to appreciate, how 50 years of Title IX is coming up in 2 years, and to see if given the opportunity, women can do amazing things.
Well, what do you need more from us? What do you need more from me? Like when I think about the responsibility that I have as one of 32 men in the world to get to do what I get to do, playing quarterback in the NFL. And, I have pressure in my world, and I have real realities in my world, but I think about my sister. I think about, athletes like yourself and so many other women who are, I think about, girls in flag football and NFL flag and how that's starting to grow and build. And what can I do more? Because I think about, when Kobe, unfortunately left and he was not here anymore, I think about the legacy and, the whole girl dad thing. And I think about my daughter, Sienna. I want to do more. And so what would you tell me? What advice could you give me if I want to help more and make a difference, especially for women's sports, but just women in general too, as well?
Well, first, that's what makes you so special, is the fact that, and that's what makes you so special. And that's what made Kobe so special and still continues to make him special, is the fact that he had a hand in growing something that did not directly benefit him himself. Like, it did not add money to his bank account. It brought awareness to women's sports. I mean, single-handedly, even the orange hoodie, in terms of merchandise, has exploded, where the average WNBA fan might have it, but now you have entertainers, you have the average fan of the NFL may have an orange WNBA hoodie. I think it's supporting in different ways, whether it be showing up to a game, whether it be even putting a name behind an initiative and showing up with a WNBA team. I think, now more than ever, as we talk about in the Black Lives Matter movement, it means more when, a white American says or speaks about their support for this movement. And it means more when men speak in support of women's equality. And so I think just by you acknowledging that and saying that, it's going to bring more awareness, and it's going to bring more opportunity for your daughter as well as mine.
Well, Candace, one of the things that I've thought about, maybe we can get this done together. But one of the things I've thought about is we should have a Women's Day. Like, there should be a Women's Day where it's all sports. Like, how we have football on Sundays? We should make Wednesdays Women Wednesdays, and it's all women's sports, and you get to highlight and watch, on ESPN and all these different networks. You get to watch women's sports, because so many times there's a game going on. It's a great basketball game, and there's another football game going on, or soccer game, or whatever it may be, and we don't get to watch that moment. And I think about Sundays, everybody's watching the football game. Everybody tunes into that, and I think I think that would be really cool to.
There's only a way we could get ESPN to hear this.
I don't know how.
They're listening.
but you hit it, like
visibility,
and that's what I mean. Everybody right now, especially in sports, is about business as well. And the main thing in business that I've learned has been, in order to make money, you have to invest money, and in investing money, you have to have some sort of visibility, some sort of marketing, things like that. And so we've made huge steps in our CBA this year, you know, in this CBA, in terms of, you know, teams having to commit to spending X amount of dollars marketing, and, you know, in terms of television and visibility and things like that. But that's huge. And even if it's maybe not every week, maybe it's even Wednesday, you know, during the summer or something like that, it would be huge just from a visibility standpoint.
I remember watching after Russell Wilson led us to our first Super Bowl victory in Seattle. There was a parade, and this wasn't on ESPN; it was on Fox Sports. But they had and it might have been regional, but they had that. They were showing the parade and all the guys, everyone's celebrating, everyone's had a good time. And one of the commentators said, "This is such a beautiful thing for this city, because this city, you know, they've lost an NBA team, and they haven't had something they could be really happy about and celebrate a championship. In fact, they haven't even had a championship since the 70s with the Seattle Supersonics." And I remember listening to it, and I'm like freaking out going, are they just pretending that the Storm didn't win a championship literally like was like the season before, or like 2 seasons before? And I remember thinking like how even the people that are in the profession that should know the stuff aren't giving it its due credit.
Yeah, it's about credit, it's about knowledge, it's about visibility, and it's about you know, acknowledging and supporting. And so I think that that's, even for people to recognize that, could be considered a step in the right direction.
So does it annoy you that the most famous basketball player to ever wear a dress was Dennis Rodman?
Not as a Chicagoan, because listen, man, that dude played hard every night. He could take that award. That guy, yes, he could go to Vegas anytime. Like, seeing Last Dance as an adult after experiencing it as a kid, like, you realize how crazy the Chicago Bulls were. Like it wasn't all picture perfect what we thought it was.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, you know, Candace, you said this quote, I believe, and I read it somewhere, and it was amazing when I think about it. I think you said, "I know I've made the world a better place by inspiring people to be anything they want, especially your girls." And I hope in the process I've inspired some boys to understand that we are not asking you guys to back up from the table, just kind of move over a little bit. That is what I hope to leave behind and to inspire. I love that, because you're such an inspiration. You make so much, you know, such a difference. And, you know, I think that for a person like yourself, such a superstar, such a leader in so many different ways, a mother, you create your own opportunities, and it's been amazing just to see you lead in such an amazing way. And so I just love that. I just love that thought. And, you know, for me, I get inspired by you, because it's all about how do I inspire the next generation? How do I influence the next kid, and just make an impact on one kid at a time? So I just love that thought. You know, do you have any thoughts on that anymore, in terms of inspiration and why you do it?
You know, I think sometimes, you know, we feel as though people have to back up, or there's going to be less of, if we create opportunity for others. And it doesn't always have to be that. I think it creates more opportunities. And, you know, with your sister, you watch how hard she trains, you watch the amount of dedication that she puts towards her athletics as well as academics. You watch the way Sierra is, and how disciplined she is, and her ideas, and the things that she is able to accomplish. And I know you look at your daughter and you want that for her. You want her to have the same opportunities that your sons have. And I think that's honestly, I grew up in a world that my parents told me I could do and be anything I wanted to do. And to have that jump start on life, there's not all kids that have that. And so we have to have people like myself, like you, across the board, that show that, but also, you know, speak about it as well, and open up these opportunities. And, you know, don't put us in a box. Look, Russ, you're doing a podcast, like, you're in business, like, you just I mean, you're on an ownership group of a soccer team. Like, look at how many things you've accomplished, and you're not just a football player. And so I think that's the biggest thing is like we're able to do so many different things if we stop putting ourselves in a box, but also others stop putting us in a box.
I got a question for both of you guys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
What you got, Jeff?
Did you guys both, I want to hear from Russ and you, Candace, like who was someone who inspired you growing up that wasn't a athlete and not a coach either? I know Pat, someone was probably a big deal in your life. And I know Russ, like your dad was an athlete, but did you have like a teacher or did you have someone in your life that was like this like role model or maybe just someone you never even met that was just like on TV that you liked? Like who was someone you really looked up to that wasn't athletic?
Well, you know, my dad would be my number one person, my brother, but they were both athletes, so that doesn't really necessarily count. But I had some amazing teachers that really kind of. I was a troublemaker growing up, man. I was getting in trouble. I was acting up.
I don't
Candace,
believe it.
I don't think
cannot
so
believe
either,
it.
Okay,
I love it.
Listen, I'm telling you, I was beating everybody up on the park. But you know, I think that for me, I had somebody once tell me, and it was Booker Corrigan. He told me, he said, Russ, as much time and energy and focus that you put on sports, what if you put just as much time and energy in friendships, relationships, but also your schoolwork? And I kind of asked myself that question. I said, you know what, like that's what I need to do more because sports came easy. When you get to the level that you're dunking in high school over there, Candace, and I'm over here in the layup line, it comes easy to you. You know what I mean? Like that fadeaway jump shot you got, it comes easy to you. You have to work at it, but it comes easy. God's gifted you with that. And so what I needed to do is focus a little bit more of my time somewhere else and diversify my time and my focus. And so that became a big thing for me. And so, and now, when I look at, everything that's going on in the world, it's, trying to make a difference, in those aspects too as well, and not just being in a box like you said, and just being an athlete. Like I got so much more to offer, and I want to be able to have cool conversations and impact the world and inspire kids just like you, Candace. And that's why I love these kind of conversations. But what about you, Candace?
No, but you're doing that, and I think that's the biggest thing with this generation that I have so much hope is that we're not just collecting a check playing basketball or collecting a check playing football. Like we're actually doing things that help others and supporting one another. That's the biggest thing for me as well. And I think I learned that, like you said, my brothers honestly were everything to look up to as human beings as well, just relationships and communication. And they're the ones that tell me the things I don't necessarily want to hear, but need to. And then, everybody in Chicago looked up to Oprah. So I wanted to be in television. I wanted to have a TV show that gave away cars. Like that was that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to say, you get a car and you get a car and you get a car. And
everybody gets a car.
Yeah, everybody gets a car.
As we talk about, inspiration, as before we go to this ad read, I got to do it here in a second. Talk to me about as you continue to inspire so many. You've partnered up with Chris Paul, CP3. You partnered up with Melo. You partnered up with Dwayne Wade. Talk to me about what you guys are doing, and also you also did something around voting too as well. So I want to hear about both of these things. We are big advocates for change.
I love it. And obviously this being an election year, it's so crucial for us to get out to the polls, and that means everybody. And to commit.
What if they disagree with you though? You don't want them voting for the other guy.
Listen, if you're exercising your right to vote and, and you're able to live with the results and it represents who you are, at the local, state, whatever election. I think it's so important for us to commit and to make it cool. Like we're all talking about us at 18. I gave this example, like at 21, you look forward to that. Like I'm an adult. I get to go drink. It should be like, I get to go vote at 18. Like I have a say and things like that. And so it's also like inspiring the next generation that sees their parents reading up on the election and submitting their ballot and going to vote and getting the stickers, like making it cool. And so I teamed up with Sprinkles, got a nice cupcake in the whole deal. And we were able to bring awareness and to get as many people to vote with vote.org. And then with the Social Change Fund with CP3 and Melo and D Wade, just trying our mission is to obviously, help the African American community and to bring about equality in so many different ways. Obviously with funding, but also with support. And so I think all of us are really trying to do our best to help others in the process of trying to fight for change, both in social justice as well as police brutality and voter suppression, systemic racism, sexism, all that. So we're trying to combat that.
Well, it's amazing that you partner up with such great guys too. I know we had Chris Paul last week, and all the amazing things he's been able to do. You have Melo, who I know personally too as well, D Wade, who I know personally too as well. Those guys call Sprinkles, which I know as well. But it's so cool just that you keep using your platform for change and making a difference, which I think is so critical, in our space. And, me and Sierra, we partner with I'm a Voter. And so we've been trying to make a difference with getting people out to vote. And that's just so key to vote. And like you said, I love what you said about being 18 years old and looking forward to that opportunity to vote. Looking forward, because we had so many people before us that fought for that opportunity.
Yep.
That fought for that. People like Martin Luther King and so many other, amazing, leaders that fought for, for Blacks, for women to be able to vote as well. And just, it's so important that we get out there and do that. So, so I'm super excited to continue here with this conversation here, Candace. You've been amazing so far. And I'm going to hop into this ad read right now.
Get ready for this, Candace. This is Russ's favorite parts after reading.
This is one of my favorite parts right here. So last week is in the books. Now it's time to review the tape and prepare for this week. There's no better place to get in all of the action than with DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy sports. To add to this week's excitement, DraftKings has a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes up for grabs. If you haven't tried DraftKings yet, head to the App Store now because you don't want to miss this. Draft your lineup and feel the sweat like never before. Every run, every pass, and catch means more with DraftKings. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Nothing adds to the excitement of watching the game quite like having a shot at millions of dollars in prizes. DraftKings has paid out billions of dollars to winners since 2012, so they know a thing or two about cold, hard cash. Download the DraftKings app now and use code DangerTalk. For a limited time, new users can get a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes this week. Don't miss out on the Week 5 action. Enter code DangerTalk to get a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes with your first deposit. That's code DangerTalk. Only at DraftKings. Make it rain. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Bang! That was like Candace's dunk contest right there.
Dude, time out though. Somewhere in America, Tony Romo is like, my job is not safe for much longer. I'm just saying, somewhere in the world, he's like, I don't know. Russ is gonna come for me. That's all I'm saying.
I'm coming for you, Tony Romo. Just give me
each week, one take, Russ. It's I'm in show business. That's impressive.
Yeah, Lee.
Well, DraftKings has been amazing to us, obviously, to be our sponsor. So it's always cool to, to do that little part there. But listen, Candace, I'm fired up to talk about a little bit WNBA, NBA finals, everything going on right now. First of all, we got the Seattle Storm right now here in Seattle. So I'm a big Sue Bird. I'm a big Brianna fan too as well. So let's talk about WNBA first. Ladies go first here. Let's talk about the WNBA and just the excitement, some of the best players you've played. Talking about these finals. Break it down for me.
Russ, it's tough for me. I know it is for you to watch the playoffs after you're out of them. So yeah. Brianna Stewart is one of my favorite people. Obviously competing against her has been fun to watch, the way that she plays the game of basketball. I mean, it's so smooth, and honestly, a player at her size doing the things that she does, being able to step out and hit the three and put the ball on the floor and attack the rim, and just the way that Seattle plays. I mean, they share the basketball. It's this new brand of basketball that has, the WNBA has been playing in terms of sharing the basketball, and the NBA has started to implement a little bit of sharing the basketball. But it's fun when you watch it move. I mean, you watch the way San Antonio plays, you watch the way the Toronto Raptors play. Like, that's how Seattle Storm play. And, the WNBA has been doing that for a while, just moving the ball and, finding the open person.
Well, I love watching them just because they're so special. And obviously Sue has been such a legend in the game. I mean, one of the greatest athletes to ever play. What do you think makes her, Sue Bird, so special playing the point guard position?
I was fortunate enough to play with her overseas as well as with USA Basketball. And, I think it's just her knowledge of the game of basketball. I would say that's the biggest thing that I enjoy. Me, Diana Taurasi, and Sue Bird were on the same team in Russia.
Whew, that's a squad.
Seems unfair. Seems unfair if you ask me.
It was so fun to sit down and just have conversations and watch basketball and just see the way that they think the game. And, I consider myself a very cerebral player. And so just to have conversations with her about the game of basketball and what she sees, and, she's 2 and 3 plays ahead. And, you're going to guess wrong because she's reacting based off what you're doing. And so it's just been, as a person that has played with her, when you cut, the ball is there. And then don't let her get to her 15-foot pull up, and don't let her get a catch and shoot 3. Like it's bottoms. So
Jeff, I got a question for you. Jeff, I got a question for you. If me, you, and Daniel Mogg, the producer of the show, if we played 3-on-3, so us 3 guys versus Candace.
Y'all calling fouls?
Yeah. If we played them 3, what do you think the score would be? If we were going 4 quarters, what do you think the score
would be? Set it up. I'm ready to rock. I'm 6'4". I can dunk as long as I don't have to dribble and do all that other crap.
But we're going big. We're going big 3 rules, so we're playing half court.
I don't need an open lane, CP.
I think we may score 6 points, and those are probably going to be all off the foul shots.
Accidents. I call them accidents.
4 quarters.
When I make a basket, I call it an accident. I go, I'm glad that one.
I love it.
So sorry, Candace, who is your – I think everybody – I'm looking at your stats. We see all that. You're one of the greatest defensive WNBA players of all time, easily, hands down. We know that you'd be on the Mount Rushmore of WNBA players. Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore?
Wow, that's a really good question. Cheryl Miller was obviously before her time, but my dad made me watch film because he said that I could be like Cheryl Miller and the way that she moved and the way she played the game. So Cheryl Miller would definitely be up there. I would put, Diana Taurasi on Mount Rushmore for sure, just in terms of what she's done and her skill set. Man, you put me on the spot here. I played with another legend. I played with Lisa Leslie for 2 seasons, a season and a half, and she's just the way that she plays, and the first woman to dunk in the WNBA, and just her versatility, blocking shots, things like that. I would say, goodness, you put me on the spot here.
This should be easy.
Cynthia Cooper. I was raising the roof with Houston Comets the whole time. I was a Houston Comets fan. Man, she was unbelievable. And that wasn't even in her prime that she was dominating, getting 4 straight championships with the Houston Comets. I think that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's it.
Okay, so let's transition to the NBA finals here. Can you fill in the sentence? Jimmy Butler is
hilarious. And like the soundbite that he had the other night when they asked him, was this the best game that he's ever played? And he said, no, he was kind of good when he was younger. He was 16 and he would go play with 40-year-olds and he dominated them. So that was the best game. That to me was like, I feel him in so many different ways. Like, it's just, I love how hilarious he is and how he stayed that way. Obviously he's gotten the blame a lot in so many different situations that he's played in. We had him actually on our podcast. I have a Ledlow and Parker podcast through Turner Sports, and we had him on our podcast. And he was like, I don't understand why people are surprised about Miami. This is early on in the season. I don't understand. Like, we're not surprised. We're good. And he just has that confidence. And it is like the perfect storm because Miami Heat culture, Jimmy Butler's confidence. You got Pat Riley up in the, the boxes, like
hair slicked back.
Cool dude. Like, it's perfect.
Jimmy Buckets has been amazing. Just watching him lead his team and just how these guys have, I think Eric Spoelstra's done a great job with those guys too as well. It'll be interesting to watch these games here coming up. So
it's going to be disappointing to watch those boys get off the court and all that Laker confetti,
He's an LA guy.
Tyler Hero has something else to say about that. I'm just saying.
I bet he does.
So talk to me about if LeBron does go and win this championship and everything else, where does he rank as the all-time great, in your head in terms of NBA players and everything?
It's really hard for me because I feel as though, life experiences kind of goes into the rating, and hear me out. So we let certain plays define the way that we think of athletes. Like you very well could and should have, I'm sorry, 2 championships.
I'm sorry, 2. It should be 2.
You should have 2. Like that's the way it should be. I should have 2 or 3. Like these small plays define the way that we think of players. And honestly, like I've said it from the get-go, LeBron James is Karl Malone's size, doing the things that he does, running up and down the court. And I think we forget that. He's unbelievable. He's an athlete that if you talk about just on the court, is he better than Mike? I don't know. Is he better than Kobe? I don't know. He's definitely top 5 in my book, top 3 in my book. But in terms of impact as an athlete, like with the platform that he's had, social justice and building schools and changing the way that we think of athletes and business. I mean, he's number 1 for sure. And so I think just that nowadays we're going far beyond just like basketball. Like he has had an impact and has led this type of thought process with an athlete from day one. And he's done this since he's been 16. Like that's what's been so unbelievable about it.
He built a school.
Like he built a school.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. And I think about, guys like Michael Jordan. Just Michael made everybody, especially, the 80s and 90s babies, fall in love with basketball, be fascinated. I mean, just his ability to win. And then I think about, I think about other greats too. I think about obviously Kobe Bryant and what he's, meant to this generation. And it's, what Kobe did for the game and how smooth he was. To me, he was the closest thing, to Michael Jordan. If you watch, if you're going to YouTube and watch like his highlights versus Michael's, and it's like identical, and just how much they were so hyper focused on the game and being so successful. I think what makes LeBron so special, like you mentioned, is also too as well, is how much, obviously, he's a freak of nature, just being able to run up and down the court and make all these plays and to win the championships that he's won. But also, too, I think what makes him so great is one, his understanding of the game, but more important, like we said, off the court. I think what he's done with building, his school, Ohio, I think, and all the things that he stands for when he speaks at, King James is speaking, okay, and his voice carries weight, and I think that's real significance. And obviously, Michael didn't have social back then, and social really kind of
glad he
began.
did.
But
I think that might have changed the way that we
knows
thought about
what
him.
happened.
But adding to what you're saying as well, like LeBron has transcended the way the game of basketball is played. I mean, if you think about his mentality, like I consider you a pretty nice guy. I consider LeBron a pretty dope human being. Like, so with that being said, back then the mindset was like you had to be an asshole to like be great at something. And I feel like this generation has kind of changed that. We're like, you can be a nice guy and like do nice things and have good relationships with your teammates and be liked and pass up game-winning shots and have somebody else hit it and still be a megastar and a superstar. And I think like y'all have changed that in that mentality, because remember when everybody was like, LeBron's mentality is just so wrong and like all this stuff before he won a championship, and he stayed with it. And I think
as a fan, might
have been different.
I'd rather vote for a good guy too. Like I agree with that as a fan and as a person that watches sports. Like I don't like when someone's like, yeah, but he wins. I'm like, I don't care if he seems like a jerk or if he's grumpy. I root for the good guys. I know Darth Vader looks cooler than Luke Skywalker, but I'm rooting for the good guy.
Really good example. Yeah, I like that.
Well, so who do you think wins this NBA Finals here coming up here? What do you think happens?
I think the Lakers. I think LeBron gets his 4th championship. I think AD gets his 1. The way that they play together has been unbelievable. I hope AD stays. I can't see why he wouldn't, although selfishly I would like him to go to Chicago. But I think LeBron could string together some championships here. This bubble is perfect for them, honestly.
Yeah,
it is. It's perfect for their role players. You talk about Kuzma's kind of growing into who he is, and to be able to do that without fans, like, and that added pressure, and like media is away from you and there's not all these distractions. I think it's going to help this team win more championships.
No, I think so too. And I think it's been fascinating watching these guys play. And I think AD is unbelievable. I mean, there's nobody colder in the game than him. Just being as tall as he's like 7'7" right? Just making
just
the
like
shots that he
doing the
makes.
things. Just smooth.
Yes, he's so smooth with that. So Jeff, I think guess what time it is?
It's 2-minute drill time.
It's 2-minute drill. So Candace, listen, I absolutely love obviously the 2-minute drill. Games on the line.
Yeah, you're pretty damn good at it too.
High stakes, pressure. We'll see who the real superstars are if they can show up and be calm and lead their team. So we have our own little 2-minute drill that we've created here on Danger Talk, and you've been amazing so far, so inspiring, so informational, and everything else. So we want to learn a little bit more about Candace Parker. So we're gonna have a little fun here. Jeff, okay. you want to walk through this 2-minute drill?
Oh yeah. We all know Russ is phenomenal. The 2-minute drill. That's our guy in Seattle. Not like that Jade Cutler guy you rooted for. Listen,
I told you that in confidence.
So what we're gonna do is you get 2 minutes. We're gonna put 2 minutes on the clock, and I'm gonna ask you rapid fire questions. So you just gotta react and give us your most honest answer. You can't say both. You have to commit to like whatever the thing is. And also, once I say the question, it's gonna go right to you, then to Russell, and then back to me doing another question.
Okay, deal.
You got it? You locked in? Russ, you ready?
I got my water. I got the timeout. I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. 2 minutes on the clock. We'll make it start right when I go. Okay. Dunk or three-pointer?
Three-pointer.
Three-pointer all day.
Ugh, I like a dunk. All right. Duffel bag or backpack while you're traveling?
Backpack all day.
Duffel bag, boy. I'm for sure. Duffel bag.
Shoes or watch?
Shoes.
I think shoes, because I think as a male, you got to have the shoes right, because you can't have a nice watch and just nasty looking shoes at all. No, we can't do that.
All right, 90 seconds. Best commentator, Shaq or Chuck?
Neither. Wait, I have to pick one?
Oh, ouch.
Oh, man, you're putting me on the spot. I do a Shaq is on my Shaq. Shaq's on my
Okay, there it is.
I'm going to go with, you said the best one? I'm going to go with Shaq.
Okay. Your first car?
Oh my gosh, a Ford Topaz, baby blue.
I had a red Jeep Cherokee stick shift. You know, ooh, that thing. That was smooth.
All right, first big purchase once you got money. We already know Russ's, but Candace?
I bought a house.
It's a big one. All right.
What was mine again?
You said you bought that car. Right? You bought that Mercedes, the nice
true.
car.
Yeah.
Wait, what? I didn't hear that. Like, baseball. What car?
Yeah, so I got drafted in baseball. You know my baseball story a little bit, Candace, but I got drafted in baseball in 2010.
30 seconds.
Sorry. Okay, so I got a GLS Mercedes. Boom, that's what it was.
LeBron, Jordan, or Cheryl Miller? Go.
Really? Jordan, Cheryl.
Yeah, what is that?
Jordan. Chicagoan.
10 seconds.
I'm going with Jordan.
Favorite city to play away at?
Chicago, all day.
Chicago's actually one of my favorites. I love Chicago.
Ooh, mine favorite too. Time is up.
One more, quick. We got overtime. All right. What's up?
Last cash purchase that you've made?
Cash purchase? Yo, real talk. My daughter had a slime business in the bubble. She's like a future entrepreneur. And I had to buy slime from her because I lost the bet. So that was probably my last cash purchase.
Russ, last cash purchase.
This is so bad. This is bad.
I'm excited.
I came home after we won our game from Miami the other day, and I snuck off to Wendy's. Got a double cheeseburger.
Ooh.
I didn't want to use my card though, so I was like, you know what? Let me just use cash.
This just gives me so much life because I am like a cheeseburger. Like if I do something or accomplish, I want a cheeseburger. Like I want a cheeseburger, French fries.
All I want.
Oh,
Also, Candace,
nothing better than warm, hot, salty fries. Oh,
you don't know me very well, but I'm like a giant child, you know. So your daughter's business, I might be the best like customer for that. I heard that. I was like, slime. She's gonna be rich.
oh my gosh, she's obsessed. She started this slime business, and she gave half the proceeds to Saint. So she had to pick a charity. So she picked St. Jude, and she sold slime in the bubble. And so half of the proceeds had to go to St. Jude, and the other half she's pocketed. But she's not like the people that invested in the company. She's not paying. Like she doesn't. So that part we haven't learned because
That's a brilliant entrepreneur.
Yeah, she hasn't paid me back, but it's cool.
Well, Candace, this has been amazing. I have one last question for you, super fast. If you had one hero, we always talk about our everyday heroes. We have a company called Good Man Brand. We always talk about these heroes. If you have one hero that's changed your life, who is it? We want to shout that person out. Who is that person?
Oh man, I think Pat Summitt definitely has changed my life. I have her words: left foot, right foot, breathe, repeat, tattooed on my arm. Just her message, her mantra through life is just you put one foot in front of the other, you breathe and you repeat, and you do the work, and you know the results will come. And so honestly, she's continued to be a huge inspiration in my life.
I love that. I love that. Well, it was such an honor to be with you. We had Candace Parker on the Danger Talk. You know what I'm saying?
Our first female guest.
Yeah, you're our first female guest. We're honored. We
you.
had to come through. We had to come through with the best of the best.
I love it.
And you know, we were counting on you just to come through, and sure enough, you did. You always
and all of our guests can dunk. Every single guest we've had can slam dunk.
You sure Shaq can still? I mean, I guess Shaq.
Oh, not still, man. I don't know, maybe.
But we're just grateful for you, and I'm gonna tell my sister. I'm gonna tell C you say hello.
Please tell her.
And
tell them all I said hello. Please.
Just super grateful to have you on our show, Danger Talk, and just you are a true inspiration to so many guys and girls around the world. Just keep doing what you're doing. Stay the course. Keep shining. Keep dunking. Keep making plays, and just keep loving the way you love. So we're grateful, and make sure everybody gets out and votes. Because Candace and I and Jeff, we were making sure that we get everybody to vote who listens to our podcast. It's super important to make a change.
And Russ, I'm going to go out on the limb, and I'm going to make a big prediction. I have you as MVP this year, and so I want this to be replayed. Your passing rating, unbelievable. You have an unbelievable season. Honestly, that's a testament to how much work you always put in. It's fun, even as a Bears fan, to watch you dominate.
Candace, he hates it when you do that. Every week I'm like, Russ, you're killing it. Let's enjoy. Let's celebrate. And he's like, 1 week at a time. We can't, let's not get carried away. Like, I'm like you. I'm like, you're the man.
Well, Candace, if we win this MVP one day, we got to go to Chicago and get a nice Chicago pizza.
Portillo's. I got to put you on Portillo's if you want great fries.
Okay.
I got you.
All right. I'm ready. So listen, Candace, it's an honor. It's a pleasure. Thank you for joining us on Danger Talk. You're the best at what you do, and we're just grateful for you. So keep shining, girl.
Thank you.
So that was Candace Parker on Danger Talk. She was our first woman guest. We got more special guests coming soon, but Candace, we're just so grateful for you. Just what you mean to the world, what you mean to women all over, what you mean to so many. You're a special, special person, and I can't wait to get that Chicago pizza with you one of these days and hang out. So just you're so special. So thank you for just being such a superstar that you are, not just on the court, but also at home and being such an amazing, amazing person. I know the Wilson family loves you, so we're always rooting for you. Candace Parker, everyone. Jeff, so next week,
what a guest!
We got another special guest next week.
I'm pumped. I'm jacked up.
We're super fired up about that.
We're on fire. Every guest we've had has been so sweet.
With episode 1, we let it off with Shaq. Episode 2, John David Washington and his new movie Tenet. We had episode 3 with Randy Moss talking about amazing stories of him and Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and all the history that he did in football. And then obviously Chris Paul, CP3, aka the point god of basketball, just doing so many amazing things in the NBA and so much more. And then obviously Candace Parker, just such a superstar like we just had. So next week's gonna be special. We're gonna keep changing up not just sports, but so many other people in so many different fields. And we can't wait to experience it with you guys. So keep joining us, keep subscribing on Danger Talk, tell all your friends. And we can't wait to see you guys next week for episode 6 of Danger Talk. Every Wednesday, make sure you guys subscribe, listen, and check us out. Danger Talk, coming to you soon.
And we're out.